Welcome to the Real Biz Solution Podcast, where we sit down with business owners, entrepreneurs, and leaders to talk about what it really takes to build, to operate, and to scale a business. We just don't talk about the success you see from the outside. We get into the challenges behind the scenes, the people, the systems, the processes, the decisions, and lessons that actually shape a growing company. Today, I'm joined with Micah of MK Aesthetics. Micah, thanks for coming on the show, and I'm looking forward to digging into your story and what you've learned while building MK Aesthetics.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Jason. I'm excited as well, and look forward to the conversation today.
Yeah, so let's take it back all the way back to the beginning. How did MK Aesthetics get started?
Yeah, great question. And it actually started with my wife. My wife and I are in partnership with this. She is a nurse injector. If so, not sure how familiar everyone is with aesthetics themselves, but it's a lot of aesthetics, beauty. We focus on non-invasive stuff, which is for us pretty much from like the chest up. So thinking about people looking better and stuff like that. She's been in the industry, so she's an RN, been a nurse by trade, and wanted to get into something else herself. She got a start as an aesthetics injector, actually working for a company called Lifetime Fitness, based here in Minnesota, where we are located, and got going in one of their medical spas, and then kind of found a need, or a niche, I should say, as far as like people like, hey, I don't want to come to your place. Can you come to us? Can you provide like this concierge type service? And so with that, she was like, wow, that sounds, light bulbs go off, and like, I'm going to team up with a medical director, and I'm going to provide the service to people, to them. I can do Botox parties, things of those nature, bring the show on the road, so to speak, some pop-up things, collaborate with some people, go to some other places. So she had started a side business on top of her, I guess, kind of then full-time job, or wanting to be full-time job. And that's really where it started. And that was like more of a sole proprietor side of things. But yeah.
So what did that business look like in the beginning stages of your launch?
Yeah, well, for her, it was, like a lot of industries that you're going to get into, she was sink or swim. She got hired, didn't really have the experience, didn't have the book of business. And it's like, we can get you going here, but you're on your own as far as your own marketing, your appointments, and some of those things. And she's been all hustle. She was teaching fitness classes at the place to get in front of more people, doing as many collaborations, pop-ups as she could. And that's to really kind of just get her own business going right there. I can fast forward to the next chapter of MK Aesthetics if you want to get to where we are now, where we have staff. And I'm a bigger part of it again. I was more of a support role at that point. But now, I can talk about the company as it stands today as well.
Well, that's awesome. So at what point did you realize there could be something much bigger?
Yeah, well, she did succeed. Going back to the sink and swim analogy, she was soaring, right? So she had got to a place where she always wanted to get to, set her goals to really fill her own book of business, be busy enough where, when I had first started dating her, she was getting this going, and she was still subsidizing her income by doing 12-hour shifts overnight on the weekends on a nurse in the ER. So fast forward, she was able to make it in this industry, which is highly competitive. I can tell you that. There's a lot of these places, and even since then, it's grown up even more wildly. Since then, competition is fierce. And so I guess what she got to a point where she was like, I can't take any more clients, or I need some additional help, right? And like the idea of doing something, the side hustle, and then that's where, we kind of came together. And my story kind of starts as far as MK Aesthetics goes. I've always aspired to be an entrepreneur. I came from various sales backgrounds, jumped around to various jobs, different management roles, independent contributors, but had a pretty good background on the business side of things, a lot of business acumen, or I said I can handle the back end of things if we want to do this. I can continue to support you, with then the ultimate goal of being, maybe I could quit my job someday and jump into this full time, or allow me to do some other entrepreneurial things.
So when was that? What was that breaking point? You said, you know what, I'm going all in on this.
Yeah,
What was that light bulb that hit? Yeah.
it wasn't. It kind of came when. So we did start a brick and mortar, and to give you a time frame, we were all in. It was 2020. So put in perspective for all of you parents out there as well. We had our first daughter. I am a father, very blessed with two children. So I have a daughter who is 6 years old and one soon to be 5 actually this month, but they're just a year and a half apart. But in 2020, we got together and we're like, hey, we got to find a place if we're going to do this. I'll support it. I'm going to continue to do my job as well. But I can run the back end, the operational things. It's kind of financial, legal compliance at that point. If you can bring someone else on and train them in, and we kind of designed what that would maybe look like originally. But we did commit to a 7-year lease at that point and building it out. And why I bring up some of the other stuff was, it was interesting times. It was 2020. That was June of 2020. Our daughter is now 5 months old. And by the time the build out was done, my wife was pregnant again. We were also building the house that I'm talking to you from right now at the same time, right? And I'm a year into that newer job that I had. So there wasn't really a choice. We kind of were all in, if you will. I guess it was like, okay, we're doing this. It wasn't a really, I don't know how to explain it. It did seem pretty natural. It seemed like, yeah, we were 100% going to do this. But then as things continued to grow and the opportunity continued to present itself, where things gone as we had hoped, where she eventually had then quit her job and clients stuck with her. There wasn't a whole lot of attrition. And so then she had the book of business at the new place. And then the growth was kind of organic from there. And we didn't try to push anything. There wasn't a huge business model behind it, other than the fact of like, when the time is right, we're going to continue to fill this space. I mean, there was quite a bit of planning. I take that back in a lot of areas, and we'd subsidize our lease with doing different things. But then as far as me, it was when we got to a certain point, and also with our kids, like having our second kid, and it felt like we were stable in life and so on, then I could ultimately quit my job when the revenue made sense for us.
Got it. And so what were some like early challenges at that time that you really didn't expect? I mean, just jumping into that 7-year lease. The reason why I'm asking that is because I've been in like my first company was in Hawaii, and I know what it's like to have a lease and know that, man, I got to fulfill this for the next 5 years. Like, how am I going to do that? So,
yeah. A lot of the challenges, right away were, I want to say like on the personal side, it was just so many differences going on in our life. And I'll just touch on those, but that was the underestimated, like just being a parent, 2 kids under 2 years old. We're both fighting over who gets to work often, or there's so much to do. And then, sleepless hours, didn't have a lot of help with the children and all that stuff. But that was probably one of the bigger things for me, where it made us become different people. So that was like the blessing and the curse, if you will. There was really no alternative. It was like, if you're going to so failing wasn't really an option, right? It's not like, oh my gosh, I'm too tired, I'm not going to work today. That wasn't really the choice laid out for us. So that was ultimately the biggest challenge. And I would say, avid reader, follow a lot of different people as my mentors, if you will, but as far as like putting me into a position, as far as like, you have to kind of become a different person. And I would say that was ultimately the biggest challenge for me, myself. But then I can go into the business challenges as well. There's a lot of risk there, right? It was 2020. Nobody knew what was around the corner. What's going on with COVID? Are we going to get shut down because this industry and like hairstylists and some of these things, they weren't deemed necessary. And so they had shut them down for a period of a couple of months at one point. And is that going to happen again at any time? There's ultimately no stream of revenue. It's in person with service. But we took it slow and steady. And I will say the first obstacle that we really encountered was the build out. just because of COVID and materials, we'll say supply chain, if you will.
Yeah, the
We
supply
couldn't
chain
get
was
our
bad at
place
that time.
built. It took significantly longer than anticipated out of the gates.
Yeah.
And that was the like, okay, well, what, we're fighting like, do I have to pay rent if we're, we had the same people kind of within our building. It's a good commercial building. We built out a suite. They were kind of helping us do the build out and some of these things, and it was way behind, as expected. I think when you first start anything in life, you're always going to get that kind of initial challenge, right? It doesn't go quite as planned and all that stuff. And then maybe you'll get a stroke of luck after that. But there's that initial challenge, like, well, that was probably what the biggest thing is. We thought we were going to be in it. We actually subleased some of our spot. So we did build out a number of different provider rooms that are offered there, knowing that we could eventually grow into them. But again, there was no employees when we first started, and so the business model there was to sublease some of our space out to some other people in a comparable industry who were looking for these kind of things. So, like some estheticians that my wife had known, we had done that. However, they had stopped their lease. They were supposed to get in at a certain time, and the place was not ready at all. So that was our first, just working through all of that. I guess that was the first thing. But then, yeah, I can go through. Wow, it brings back a lot of memories, a lot of milestones as far as those things go.
Yeah, so it's very interesting that I see like entrepreneurships don't necessarily always follow a straight path, and I know that you have like a different professional background before even getting into this. So, what attracted you to entrepreneurship?
It was really the idea of working for myself. And I think that's the biggest thing. Also, it could also reap my own reward. So, as we were talking kind of before this started, I'm an engineer by schooling. Started doing that, didn't really have a love for that, I want to say. I also saw more opportunity like in sales and different things like that, where I could reap my own reward, kind of go out on my own. And I would say anyone that knows me for a long time, even when I was younger, I was like, I'm always going to start my own company. And that's always been kind of part of my DNA. Like I always want to do this. I had, pie in the sky visions of enterprises, or everyone wanted to be a billionaire or a millionaire, whatever that may be, some of those things, right? So some grandiose ideas of different stuff, and thought owning my own company would potentially do that. I mean, there's a lot of ways to do this, obviously, but that's what my as a younger kid, that was always part of it. And then as I got older, I did jump around from job to job, so to speak, enough, not constantly, but sales jobs for me, in my experience, they were commonly, you do good until it was time to move on, I guess, at some point. I wasn't a long-term career. I'd get bored. I'd kind of figure something out and I'd get really bored, move on to the next thing. And it's, it's just, again, to my demise too, to anyone else listening, the rules say get really good at something, then become an expert at it and all those things. And I would master something and I'd be like, what? Okay, I gotta do something else now, like, which didn't make sense, instead of capitalizing on it. But entrepreneurship provided me a lot of that. So I thought just the variety of work, and that's my day in the life right now. Is I don't know, it really lines up with kind of my skill set that I have right now, and what I like to do. So.
So what has owning a business taught you that your corporate career didn't?
What is owning a business?
Yeah, it taught you that your corporate career did not teach you.
Yeah, okay. That my corporate career is not. It's. I'm going to say this. It's really all about the people. Culture is number one. So as much as I took that for granted, working for other people, and I probably wasn't the best employee at all times and all this stuff, and go against the grain, or I don't like this, why do we have to do this, and so on and so forth. I now see that completely differently. And I will say that culture is the number one thing that keeps our business kind of going, makes us who we are, and those things. I'd say that'd be my response to that question.
Got it. And so has it changed the way, I'm assuming based on your response, but has it changed the way that you make decisions like today compared to being in that corporate environment?
Yeah, absolutely. You're in control. And I would say that, everything has a cause and effect, right? But
Mm-hmm.
when you look at something, you have to make a decision. You have to look at, you can't be nearsighted. You have to look at a longer term plan that you're looking at, the ripple effect of what it can have on everything else. And so it ultimately, you really have to be a comprehensive view of everything that's going on. If it's a change in personnel, for example, how does that affect the culture? Or if this policy happens, what are they going to say? And so it's not just like what's good for the company, like on a measuring stick or numbers that are telling me this, those kind of things. It's really like how is this going to be perceived? How is it going to work? How long is this going to take? And how is it going to affect things with the culture?
Yeah. And so where would you say like MK Aesthetics is today compared to where you thought it would be when it first started?
Wow. Well, I will say it's exceeded our wildest dreams, I should say. We did put out like some kind of I want to say revenue goals and financial goals and stuff like that, but I don't know if we really believed them ourselves. And we didn't do it in a fashion of here's what I'm going to try to get to, and that means all these things are going to happen. We did it in some regards, but it wasn't like let's go raise money to do this because we know we're going to need this to happen and that to happen and all that. We built it all organically, and we've kind of put those pieces on as they've come. They become needs versus needs that have presented themselves versus like, oh, I need to get a marketing budget, or let's take out a loan and let's do this. And you know what I mean? We're doing good enough right now. What can we afford to do next? And what's the next strategic step to get there? So we didn't piece it, as I've listened to a lot of podcasts or different people, like we brought in this expert right from the start, right? It's like we brought in this person and this person and this person, and here's everyone's rules, and we're going to raise a bunch of money, and here's what's going to happen, and we'll build all of this stuff. Ours, we flipped it on its head in some regards. We built it, and as it's going, we're continuing to kind of monitor like what we need, where we want to go. And with that, we're able to kind of control. I think one of our biggest challenges right now has been growing too fast. And that's just happened on its own. I can touch on that as well. But that being said, is that creates its own problems. And I can go a lot of directions with that.
Yeah. So like what has been that biggest change that you've had to make as the company has grown?
Yeah, well, one of the biggest changes. So we are, I want to say 12 employees right now as I speak. And I'm probably going to be hiring a couple more within the next month or two, actively interviewing. And the biggest change that's happened as we've grown, I like analogies. So think of like a pyramid, right? Where someone has maybe all these, or maybe it's the other way around, has all these responsibilities. And it's like this person, employee 0, was doing this role and they were helping on the front desk. And then I'd be like, put all these taxes into like this software system, or, hey, we're going to launch this payroll system, or we're going to, do this, meet with these vendors, deal with vendor management, or like post up these signs for HR or do whatever. Right. And so it started out with, you need all of the things and all the processes to be like compliant and legal and operational. And so a lot of people that started wore many hats. And as we've grown, those hats have like become, as we're not quite there yet, but those become different departments, if you will, right? Or multiple people's responsibilities. So if you're in marketing or HR, or you oversee the front desk, you work with the vendors, or you're doing a provider and you have to order all of our supplies and you have to figure out, cost analysis on these, and you have, right? And so now if you think of like a bigger company, HR, IT, legal, compliance, a lot of financials, all those kind of things. Everyone had different hats all over the place, right? And then it's one of the bigger challenges are, as we've grown, it's like, okay, you no longer, Jason, answer the phones anymore. I know you know how to do it, but now you're just go over here, just do this, right? And so that continues to be a problem as we grow. I shouldn't say a problem. It's a challenge. It's just, how do you do this? That gets into the culture, right? I'm ripping this away from you. I understand you know how to do it and you've done it well for a couple of years. You need to train this person in and stay out of their lane.
Mm-hmm.
And so these are kind of just things I wasn't able to anticipate, never being a part of this before. But that as I talk to more and more business owners, it's, they almost laugh because they're like, oh, of course, you haven't gone through that yet. So,
So
and
it's
that's,
like it's like bandwidth, right? Like
yeah.
growth creates opportunity, but it also requires more things that require your attention. So what would you say is consuming most of your time right now?
It is, right now, my role has, really moved into like the financial piece of things. And so I do get involved a lot in various areas, and my wife and I have kind of divided the responsibilities. But right now, it is we're actively working with a consultant that we're just bringing in right now to kind of help us with. If you're familiar with like an EOS system, Gene Wickman's book Traction, if you've heard of that before, and so like it's kind of a system for businesses in a lot of ways, right?
Yeah.
And boiling some of that down, it's really getting clarity on our vision, the roles, responsibilities, accountability, and it's kind of redesigning these things, and that's what we're working towards right now, because we do have a lot of opinions, or who's in charge, is Morgan in charge, is Micah in charge, how do we go about doing this? But clarity for our team, I guess, is where that goes. But because we don't have all the structure where we want it to be right now, there's a lot of like running around and jumping all over the place. Or, I thought Jason was going to do this. Well, I thought Micah was going to do it, or is it done yet? Or and so on. So trying to resolve that. And we've reached out to a consultancy to help us, figure out some of these things and get some of these things in place for us. But
yeah, it's funny you say that, because like, I mean, I'm all into systems and the way that things are developed.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that, like, especially for you, like as a growing company, right? If those systems aren't established now, man, it's going to be major issues in the future. So I commend you on taking the initiative and looking at how do we develop those systems, right? And so is there like any type of like technology that you're trying to put in place in order to make that happen?
Not so much technology, I would say right now. There are tools. There's project management tools, and I wouldn't say it's problematic, but anyone that comes in could find some efficiencies as far as like all of our spreadsheets that we have everywhere. Or, these people are working on this spreadsheet, this one's on that one, and that gets into document organization and some of that stuff. So I will say that, reporting, and we want to become more of a data-led business in that regard. And, AI is a huge thing where we don't have AI where it is like helping us right now. I'd say no more than like a common person, I guess, not from like a business initiative standpoint, really fully automating things. But I mean, yeah, it can help us wordsmith emails and help us with some content and change some spreadsheets around and stuff like that. But it's not delivering business. But I would say in our line of business too, we're very cautious with AI because we are a trust business. And if someone's coming in to get medical, medical grade services done, there's a high level of trust. We can talk about our clients and some of those things too, but we don't want it, everything has to be authentic. And that is a huge thing. And so where we can use AI, it'd have to be more on the back office kind of things versus anything that's customer facing potentially as well. So,
as you begin to grow the team, what's been the hardest part about finding and managing the right people?
Yeah, that's an easy question to answer. The challenge is really that we've grown quite a bit. And with that, there's been so many more things that we need to do. And there's in almost every area, it's kind of like the phrase, what you've done in the past, or I guess what we've done to get here isn't going to work to get us to the next level, so to speak, right?
Mm-hmm.
As we do now have a bigger vision and to grow. And again, as we were talking about, it's really stabilized right now, ultimately grow, and then scale beyond that, and multiple locations potentially, and some of that as well. But the challenge is that when you grow, you're growing at a certain pace. I already tapped into, like, we're always trying to invest in ourselves as much as we possibly can just to keep up, and be the right leaders and do everything. And we try to recognize our limits and, like, hey, we need to get some outside help, some expertise in different areas. But with the team, it's really hard to, I guess, when you're growing really fast, to train different people in. You almost need different levels of expertise. And so again, they've been good at some things we've done in the past, and the new direction we want to go may be unknown to them, right? And so it's do you have the right people with the right skill sets to accomplish what you have? And
so how much of your time goes into actually managing the team to get them into that position?
Yeah, so I don't do it myself right now. We did hire someone, and that was a godsend to me in a lot of ways. About a year ago, we hired an executive director. And so our org chart looks like my wife and I up on top, executive director, a couple managers, and then about 9 other people under that. And so we have someone that we kind of work with, and we'll work with like that managers. Mm-hmm. But her directive is to do exactly what you're saying, is to kind of work and coach in some of these areas.
Yeah.
Some of those things.
So do you feel like they have enough capacity today to accomplish the things, or is it always kind of like I got to figure out this problem, solution to this problem to create I guess an easy, to where it doesn't feel like it's so high pressure, but it's like coasting?
Yeah. I think if you asked our team, it depends on where you're at, but some people feel the pressure because there's some things that are maybe unknown to them, or skills that they haven't matured for them yet in certain things, and they're being held accountable in some regards to really get those things done. And so if they were, I don't want to say if they were proficient, but if they had more experience in some of those areas, it may not take them as much time or do as long as it may need to be. Yeah. But then, there is that balance, right? As far as, do you invest in someone monetarily? Do you invest your time with them? Do you give them help, like more bandwidth, more resources? And it's always that balance, right? As far as, looking at it from, whenever you're doing this, you're kind of taking away what other opportunity you could be doing that with as well, right? And so that's always a challenge. It's, you don't always know if you're doing it right or if you're not doing it right. But do you want to invest more in them? Is it your time? Is it somebody else's time? Is it a software? Is it a new tool? Or do you need someone else to do it? Should we outsource it? Should we get someone that is proficient on this, or they can do this project, or they can help with, this thing? And so, there's always new stuff. And I think the biggest lesson I've learned is you got to kind of look at, so we were kind of talking about earlier, the culture, right? And so if you're doing this, how do they feel about that, right?
Yeah.
And is it fair to them? And people want commonly, especially in this environment now, everyone wants to get paid a lot more. They want the opportunity to earn more money. Very understandable. And, you have to balance all those things out.
So what do you think that there are some things that may need to change, such as, like, either would it be training, onboarding, scheduling, internal communications, the workflow, workload, or management?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think right now we're really trying to we're trying to focus on the management side of it. And that's where we're at as a company. I could talk a little bit about working with my wife. That's a conversation in itself. Would not recommend it to anyone out there.
I'm doing that. I do it. Me and my wife are partners.
Are you guys? How is it going for you guys?
You know what? If I can't, the way that I look at it, Micah, is if I can't do business with my wife, with my partner, right, then I don't necessarily in my opinion, don't need to be like the person who I trust the most. It doesn't
Yeah.
mean like it's easy by any means, because there's things where my wife challenges me a lot on a lot
Yeah.
of things. And so, I've learned to kind of make those adjustments, but then hear it out, because I'm such an A+ personality. And I'm sure you are kind of the same way, where we're just
Mhm.
like, we think that we know the right
Yeah.
direction, but sometimes we don't. And sometimes we got to humble ourselves, which it's taught me how to humble myself even more.
Yeah. No, you say, well, I say this half joking when I bring this up, but
Yeah.
humble yourself it really humbles myself, right?
Yeah.
It's, I'll say this, for example, my wife is the face of the company.
Yeah.
Most people, I kind of work in the shadows, that thankless position, if you will, right? I'm not the strong client base, 3,000 clients. I would say 5% of them even know I exist in the company. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so there was that's one thing I had to learn, I guess, was a check for me. A self-check, I should say, is just that humility, right?
Yeah.
And it's,
Yeah.
I was used to being, when I was younger in my career, I wanted titles, I wanted different things.
Mm-hmm.
I get it. I think it's human nature.
Yep.
And now, a year ago or so, I met someone and they were like, oh, you work for your wife. And I'm like, I didn't know how to take that, right? It didn't sit
Yeah.
well at the moment. And now
Yeah.
I kind of laugh about it, but I'm like, yeah, we do. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And we're growing, we're all different roles and some of these things, but yeah, humility is a huge thing, I think, in business in general,
Yeah.
and take our lumps. Not everything is great. And I don't know. Yeah. So, yeah.
Well, yeah, you guys, so I'm going to start moving on to the growth side of things in business. And you guys have a great service. It sounds like you guys have a great team, but ultimately there has to be a predictable way of bringing customers through the door, right? Where does most of your new business come from today?
Today, where we're almost at year 5 of brick and mortar. Again, my wife has been doing this for about 12 years, and a lot of these clients are still with her. I'm going to say a number of those, but we've grown, obviously. And where those clients come from today, I'm going to say we're 60% referral where we
That's
are.
awesome. Wonderful.
And this line of business that we're in, it is retention is the name of the game. You don't want you want people to keep coming back. It's a repeatable service for the most part. Some things annually, some injectables are done, quarterly, or as much as people want to do them, depending on what we're talking about. And now we're catering into some new lines of business too, beyond aesthetics. We're going deeper into wellness, which is more of my passion, which I'm getting excited about. But we just launched that. But yeah, so a lot of these people are coming from referrals, and we're just getting into more conventional marketing. And I can explain that further, but as most people would be doing a lot of advertising and so on. Again, it started with my wife, a lot of guerrilla marketing, just getting in front of as many people and so on. And then kind of word gets out, so to speak. And for this industry, again, it is very trust-based. People are like, hey, who did you have do your face, so to speak, or who's doing your Botox, or who's, and commonly what we do is we're in the Midwest, and we try to focus on natural looking results, right? So 95+% of our client base is women, and there are a lot of men that do this, but I'm ready to say women are the main clients that we cater to right now. And why I say that is a lot of the men, at least when I started even dating my wife, had this perception of, whoa, you get these like botched or the extreme examples of or bad plastic surgery gone wrong and so on and so forth. So our ultimate result is you would never even know that it happened, so to speak. You know what I mean? If we're doing our job well, we're going to kind of keep you looking the way you want to look, anti-aging in some regard, right? Just kind of like stay natural and so on. So, yeah, that's why being 75, I don't look that bad, right? So no, just kidding.
I was going to say, wow.
Um, no, but to the point is we try to do that. And so I was going to say a lot of men have this perception of like, whoa, what's going on there and so forth. Right. But it is really kind of this, in some ways, like I want to say just natural results that we're looking for.
Yeah. And so you're saying 60%. Do you guys have, within the rest of the 40%, how are you guys generating opportunities there?
Yeah. So, a big thing has been, we did get going on a lot more digital stuff over the last couple of years. And that is utilizing some tools, some very simple ones in business, just like reviews, Google reviews specifically. And so we also have a CRM, which again wasn't part of the initial everything that we were doing, but a customer relationship management tool. And with that, we can send out our emails and our text messages and communicate with a lot of people that way. And it also has automations like pre-treatment, post-treatment, and stuff like that. But Google reviews have been a big thing where we kind of just hit a milestone of 300 five-star reviews. And our reviews are all pretty glowing. We haven't had any real negative. We don't have any reputation management issues, so to speak. It's naturally come. The people that do leave reviews, almost everyone is a 5-star. I would say like 99%. I don't even know if we have any that aren't. And with that boosts up. We just started going with like SEO and some of these other conventional sources of marketing, right? But the reviews themselves have brought in, they kind of stand on their own. And so people that are searching have been finding them, they're reading people's reviews and so on. So that gets into the other 40%. Other things, we have done a lot of like community outreach kind of things like that. And so we collaborate with different people, go to different events, kind of focus on, I'll use the terms like avatar, right? Who is our right client and where are those people at? And that's who we want to, kind of be with and be seen and known around those areas, I guess.
Yeah, it's interesting. So a lot of the things that I look into is like evidence-based decision making, right? So like, do you have like a predictable funnel that'll show you the lead flow that's going in and coming in within, the next month, 2 months, 3 months?
We really don't. It's something we're working on right now. I wish I could say we're doing it better. These are all efforts underway, to be honest with you. Again, coming from more of a sales background, I'm very familiar with a lot of these things. But it's just been a focus has been so much on operational right now. And then I would say the other big thing, I don't want to digress, but it's just getting HR under your belt. As I talked about culture, but then all the other stuff like processes and, it's kind of like changing things for people. But that's been so much of the focus since I've been on board. Now we're kind of getting into more marketing, I guess, in some of these conventional ways where our leads, we have so many leads and we're actually just trying to harness a number of them that we do have, like people that used to be with us that aren't with us anymore, and like tracking some of those things and how to reach out to them. For example, we work with a lot of big vendors. They have their own programs, rewards programs and loyalty programs, such as, the more they come in, the more they spend, they get like points or savings and stuff like that as well. And they give us all kinds of like coupons and stuff like that. So we have so many leads that we haven't even done anything with right now, again, beyond paying for other things. So I wish it was a little bit more predictable. But again, we're kind of, getting into other problems. I can talk about problems and challenges every day. But we're kind of at capacity almost right now. And that's where it's like, as I was mentioning, we're kind of as we go, so to speak. And so it's like, okay, we've reached another threshold. And as I mentioned, we launched wellness, and that's going to be a lot of hormone therapy, kind of getting into the peptides. That's not the main focus, but the cornerstone is bioidentical hormones, other wellness remedies. But we just launched that. We're almost at capacity with our provider who can do it, and actively recruiting another NP and stuff. And so it's like once we get there, then it's kind of like, how do we do some of these other things? And some of our marketing that's really worked for us has been in our industry is like mini events. I should say this, social media. I don't really do social media myself, but it has been my wife and a couple of the other gals. It's what's really, really, really grown the business. That's been the
Yeah,
huge thing. And as you said,
for
like a
sure.
trust-based thing, I don't know. I think it
Hmm.
may be, I want to say it's dwindling. It's table stakes. You absolutely need it, but I don't think it's quite as what it was. It's a little more saturated just as far as like social media in general. But that had been a huge driver for my wife.
Hmm.
And then there's a lot of tactics with like before and after photos
Hmm.
and some of these kind of things like that. But yeah, social media has been huge for us as in general. But it's not, again, that's, I want to say now more brand recognition than
Hmm.
it is the driver. It's definitely it's a touch point that people are getting with us. So
Yeah. And so like you guys have current clients, right? Um and
sorry, say that again.
no, I said your current client base, like
Mhm.
nurturing your current clients. Do you feel as if like you're getting everything that you could offer them that is already generating maybe an increase in revenue on that based on their needs and in discovering those needs?
Mhm. Yeah, another great question. So
Yeah.
we did a market survey last year to our existing clients, and we really asked them, what else are you looking for? Are you going somewhere else for these services and some of those things? And we wanted to get into wellness ourselves, but our clients were starting to tell us that we're doing a lot of this too, and that's kind of something that's under our umbrella. It's in our
Mhm.
wheelhouse. It is a little more complicated from what we do, taking blood draws, sending them out to labs, getting them back, literally writing prescriptions for people that they can go pick up places or,
Mhm.
come back and get pellet insertions or syringes of testosterone, whatever it may be, right? It's a internal medicine a lot more, and it's a one size fits all. Or there's not. I'm sorry, it's not a one size fits all. It's definitely unique to each person based on their blood type, their symptoms, all these different things. But that was that was a big challenge bringing that on. But what I wanted to say is our clients kind of led us that direction. That
Mhm.
has been a big thing to answer your question. And there's a lot of things in this industry, and you have to be really careful with just kind of chasing trends, so to speak.
Yeah.
And that's where the
And
GLP.
it's funny that you say what, and you're about to go into the GLP ones
Yeah,
and peptides, and man, I'm just like everywhere I turn, like everybody peptides, GLP
yeah,
ones, and I'm like, I, I'm 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 like, I don't know if I want to take peptides because I don't even know where they're coming from, like, and
right.
it's just kind of like it puts me, and I see kind of the results that it happens with people, but then I'm like, I don't know, based on a little bit of the research that I've found, it's just like you don't ever know where they're coming from.
Yeah. That's getting back to the trust based industry. So I'll tell you my take. I am not a medical professional. I'm not giving
Hmm.
medical advice. I'll start with that
Hmm.
disclaimer.
Yeah.
But, doing a lot of research on the back end with Aaron Hine is our medical director, or I'm sorry, is our executive director, who's really kind of helped spearhead the wellness program with our lead NP. And we had looked at all these sources to get this stuff. And I'm going to say we started in June, where we actually started doing it. And we started researching probably like in October. And it is absolutely wild to me because there's a lot of reputable companies
Hmm.
in the industry. Like we use like Stryker RX is one of them, or Absolute, or Olympia. These companies have been around for a very long time. And they have these compounding pharmacies. There's um, 503A pharmacies,
Hmm.
503B pharmacies, and I won't get into what all that means, but in short, we then started looking at the competition and seeing like how readily I didn't know that you could just go online and get this stuff like essentially drop shipped to your house within 48 hours, and you have no idea where it's coming from or anything, and they can just say whatever. There's also things in the medical industry called a good faith exam, which is essentially someone has to be, it's state by state, they have to be a physician's assistant, PA,
Hmm.
nurse practitioner, NP, or a medical doctor. And if you're not one of those, and then you have to do a good faith exam that can consist of various things in different states, but it is really just checking your vitals, all these different things. And then you're going to symptoms, then you're going to blood work and all these other things. I don't know how these places online, there's some loopholes or something, or it's that's why it's like it's FDA regulated. It's not. It's the FDA approved it. They unapproved it. I don't know what's going on, but there's all these people we found out doing this without medical guidance. They're getting stuff. They don't know where they're getting it from, and don't know what's in it. But what I was going to say, even within these companies that we feel is reputable, their prices. This one may be 3 times the price of this one. And then 2 months later, it's cut in half, or this one's like right here. And so I guess how I'd explain it is even sourcing it, if it's like, penicillin is supposed to be penicillin, ibuprofen is supposed to be ibuprofen. And it's like, this is what it's supposed to be. You get these things in all different concentrations from all over. And we have like equations to even figure out because they're concentrated, and you have to essentially extract them, reconstitute them a little bit, and then to get them into like units or, the prescription that they need to get. If it's not medically regulated or medical guidance, if someone's giving a vial of testosterone and like only take this much and do it twice a week, and give us your credit card if you want it again in a month, it's really scary. And we've had a lot of clients coming into us. I mean, again, I don't see them myself. I'm not the medical professional, but just seeing all the noise that's out there and knowing what could be happening. And I don't know how much my wife showed me stuff on social media of horror stories, or people sending labs, or people are like, I'm losing all my hair because I'm on a GLP-1. And it's like, well, yeah, if you don't eat the right amount of food, or you're not following the right protocol, I would expect nothing less. Do you know what I mean? And so
for sure.
It's really crazy. But there's also, with anything in medicine, it's not everything is for everyone. We're definitely trying to treat symptoms where we are at. And that's what I was saying. You don't jump on every trend. We're like, this is, it's serious stuff. And so it's really weird. But it's also kind of scary how our society is really eager to jump on a, quick fix, fast, like I'm going to just shoot this into my body, or I'm going to do whatever. No idea what it is, where it's coming from, what's supposed to even happen. What are you trying to accomplish? You know what I mean? Is it measured? Are you progressing in the right, there's a lot to it. So I don't know, protocol and stuff, but, I am a fan of the peptides now, being trained on them, or I should say being part of different trainings that our staff is doing, and some of these things. I'm not against them. I will say though, it is the Wild West out there, and the fact that you can get these things online and just shipped to you. Again, I think there's a time and place, and there's different things for different people.
I just don't see how, man, I just don't see how. I mean, there's people that not even just online, just random people selling them out on the street now that I'm seeing. Like, and I'm asking them, where do they come from? Well, we're getting them from China. Well, first off, I don't know if I want to inject anything in my body that's coming in from China, which is interesting. So let me talk about the experience of MK Aesthetics. So walk me through what happens from the moment someone hears about MK Aesthetics to becoming a regular customer.
Yeah. There's different ways to come in. So I'm going to say it's almost now framed the aesthetics side and the wellness side, which again just kicked off a couple of months ago. But in short, in most of them, they start with a consultation. And so if you've, it's really, why are you coming to us, right? And why are you here is kind of is one way to look at it. Those aren't the actual questions that come out, but there is like an intake form. There's a whole, medical checklist to make sure everyone is good and able to take on any of the stuff that we could offer to them or so on. If they have any conditions or sensitivities or allergies or any of that stuff, it's known obviously ahead of time, but they come into a consultation, and we'll say it's on the aesthetic side of it. Then it's ultimately trying to figure out what they're trying to accomplish and what they're looking for. And then it's, so we do injectables, We have energy, which are like lasers and stuff like that, skin tightening devices, some resurfacing lasers. But then we have a few different product lines of skincare as well. And so I guess from like a guy's reference, it's kind of like, here's your workout routine, but you should eat this food as well, right? So it's a whole protocol that goes along with different things based on what people are wanting. And different age groups, different people are looking for different stuff, or because of their skin types, or because they've had melasma, or they've had different things, right? We're not dermatology, but it's it crosses the line quite a bit, right? It's they're looking to they're feeling their face is sagging is kind of a common symptom. I guess I've heard a lot of people say, and it's like, what can I do in this area or that, or I just want to remove some wrinkles, wrinkle relaxers up here. There's different things that people are trying to accomplish, and then trying to understand why, and then ultimately set them up on a protocol that would get them those results that they're looking for.
Where do you guys tendingly lose people in that process?
I think, I would say this is people. So some of these skincare journeys, for example, can be 6 months to a couple of years. And the regimen, some people spend a significant amount of money on it, and that may be the recommendation. And so other people are like, well, there's a price point, or I unfortunately can't invest, all this money over this amount of time. And so I want to start with this. They'll maybe start to get results, and they'll just kind of stick there, but they won't do the full thing, I guess, if that makes sense. So skincare can be a part of it. Skincare itself can be spendy. Medical grade skincare has active ingredients, so it's much different than anything else you buy in a store. It is medical grade and can do a lot deeper stuff for different results. And this is, again, something that I've started to embrace over the last few years, that my wife has got me on, like different protocols and stuff like that. But I'd say from a men, I know where a lot of men lose it, but I know from a women's standpoint, it may be a little bit different.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think once they start seeing results, it is, I guess from like my standpoint, being a guy, I like to work out and stuff like that. If you get something, it's like, do this for a while and you're going to have a 6-pack, but if you stop doing it, it's going to go away. It's kind of becomes that addictive kind of thing, if you will, right? And so, again, not necessarily a quick fix, but more of a routine, and it kind of slows down the. It depends on what we're talking about, I guess. Some things are a little bit more cosmetic, other things are more longer term preventative. So, yeah.
So as the company grows, what part of the business still feels more manual than it should? Like doing manual operations?
Yeah. Well, what we do is I'll say this, from the company itself, we're always going to be manual. I mean, we're always going to be service based, right? So we're going to be in front of the people and so on. And I would say that is our secret sauce, if we have one, is customer experience is never compromised, like ever. That is the holy grail of what we stand by. And so that has to do with, other things, like answering phones, the just people up front and so on. There are a lot of ways to automate a lot of different things. But that's one area we never will. But the other things I would say that's really manual right now is, for me, it's just all the reporting and data on a lot of stuff. So I kind of hire it out, but I know there's maybe some other tools out there that could help me do that. But to kind of help lead the decisions. And you've touched on a lot of them in this interview, as far as like, what are people coming in from, or what are they wanting, and some of those things, right? But to be able to track that, and we kind of do it, it's a pretty manual effort to do that today. It'd be great to have, these dashboards and scorecards of like, this is what's happening today. This is what, these sales are this or that. And because of this, and this is their third time back, or these people all stop coming back, or they don't see this person anymore, or they won't, so just data and analytics. But that's kind of me by nature. I love that stuff. I like to consume that. But it's hard to,
it's like, it's like, because you came from that corporate background, right? Whether it's everything is like metrics, numbers, data driven. Have you looked at any technology or AI solutions to fill that need?
Yeah. Actually, been in contact with some people. Different solutions in different areas, right?
Yeah.
From any like answering phone calls afterwards, after hours and stuff like that. Our booking process is something I want to highlight that I feel is a little clunky, and that goes into we have like EMR systems and stuff like that. We do use an AI to help transcribe like our doctor's kind of notes, so to speak, when they're meeting with a person, then getting those
Mhm.
into you have to retain client records for a very long time, and to like having conversations recorded and then kind of transcribed in, ultimately emailing them out some different things. So there's portions of things that are a little more efficient in that regard.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, I do know of some people's stuff, but I haven't had it tailored to me. It's kind of more of here's what we have. Do you know what I
Yeah.
mean? I'm like, oh, I'd like some of that. I don't want to build my castle on somebody else's land either. Do you know what I'm saying?
I
And
get
so
it.
it's like I don't want to switch systems, to be best in breed in this one thing, right? And
Yeah.
so it just hasn't been a top priority right now. But that's what I'm saying. There's always growing fast is that problem where there's only so much time in the
But
day.
it's a good problem to have, right? Because you're just
Yeah,
constantly looking at problems. Okay, I have to solve this
yeah.
problem. Then I got to move to the next one. After I solve it, I'm moving to the next one, right? So where do you want AK Aesthetics to be like 3 years from now?
3 years from now.
Yeah.
Oh, that's in conversation right now. Actually,
Hmm.
we're kind of we're getting capped out at our space for the most part. We're looking to hire a couple more people as it sits right now, and we don't have room for much more as far as growth out of our place. And so that would lead to ultimately another location. And
Okay.
I think our biggest thing is we want to really get going more on the wellness side of things, and that can be there's a whole world out there. There's stuff for your mind and like
Hmm.
Alzheimer's. There's a lot of stuff like I have personal issues that I've been to a lot of functional medicine doctors with like my GI tract and stuff like that. I mean, we can do dietitians, we can do some of those things, but I want to say like health in general. There's also a lot of our clients have actually asked for it too. They're like concierge medicine, as I mentioned, how my wife kind of started this, like doing Botox parties and some other things like that,
Hmm.
where we have the staff and different like NPs can prescribe different things to different people. If your child has a sore throat or different stuff like that with like virtual consultations and stuff like that. So um, again, there's I think where we'll be next though is sticking to what we know and then slowly growing into some of these spaces. And again, what I was saying before is like really let our clients kind of lead the way. We have a really good client base. Um, we've been able to retain them quite a bit. We have a good membership program,
Hmm.
and build that we're looking to kind of extend one of those or build another one as well for like the wellness side of things as we get our feet on our ground a little bit more there. And I would say wellness is like where we're going the next few years for sure, but it could be another location. Private equity is heavy in this space right now, and for better or for worse, it's a lot of people that have now worked for places that are under private equity. They seem to want to get out. I'm not saying
Yeah.
everyone, but we have a lot of people coming to us like, "Hey, man, it really changed the last couple of years. Are you guys hiring?" That's a common story right now, and so I think there's a lot of opportunity. It is just really for us to kind of one thing at a time. Um, Part of our goals are to kind of a life first business. I don't know if there's such a thing as work life balance, being owning a small business, but I don't know. That's kind of one of our things to get there because it goes in waves. It was really
Hmm.
crazy. Like probably anyone's war stories to get going. Doing multiple jobs, whatever your life all consumed of, but just a lot to get it to where it is. And having young kids, we're um, very religious, family first, and then again, like our team, our culture, and some of those things are some of our core values. Where just personally, where it's
Hmm.
like we don't want to lose sight of that, right? So
Yeah, for sure. Totally
it's
get
it's
that.
hard to. That's what we're trying to decide because our kids are at a precious age right now. Assuming they play sports, want to be able to coach their sports and some of those things. Spend more time with them, have some longer summers and stuff like that. But um, that being said, is we definitely, I would say, probably still at least double in size. I don't know if that's going to be the next 3 years, but maybe
Mhm.
5 years or so, for sure.
So if you could wave a magic wand and fix three things in your business over the next 12 months, what would you fix?
Ooh, three things in our business.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. I would say the one that we're working on right now, which is our ultimately like our leadership, if you will. It's
Hmm.
more of the structure, I want to say, not necessarily leadership.
Hmm.
It's not a person or a thing, but it's really clarity within our company. Things as we continue to grow, things continue to evolve. To really have that clarity, that communication, have that set vision, which I'm having a hard time struggling to describe to you right now because my wife would may say something slightly different, and we're trying to get
Yeah.
and if our staff comes to us, this is what I'm saying. Our staff comes to
Yeah.
me and asks me, "Are we doing this with marketing?" I say this, and my wife's like, I thought Morgan said we were doing that, right?" So it's that clarity on
Mm.
that vision and getting all this kind of structure in place. That's my first and foremost, the number one thing. I would say number two would be to have data really lead the way.
Hmm.
And so that may be an AI solution and some of those things too, but to really pull in, what's working for us and what's going well. And then, a third, right now we are running out of space of where we're at. And so I'm trying to think of how to fix that where I have to negotiate another lease or find another space. But that's one thing where, and then again, if you there's breadcrumbs to that. If you lease another place, then it's like, okay, I guess we're going for X amount more growth. We need to, right? So trying to figure out those solutions, I guess, is right now that I try to do.
Awesome.
Mhm.
Well, I will tell you, thanks again for joining me. We're at the end of the show right now. And joining me on this Real Biz Solution podcast. And to
Yeah.
everyone that's listening, if you enjoyed today's conversation, make sure you follow the show and share this episode with another business owner, entrepreneur who could benefit from it. And Micah, is there anything, if anybody wanted to find you, your website, your social media handles, how could they get a hold of you?
Yeah, sure. Website is mkaesthetics.com. That's AE. That's how you spell aesthetics is kind of a crazy word. And then Instagram, Facebook handle is m.k aesthetics as well. So at that, and then otherwise on LinkedIn, I'm not as active as I used to be, but love to help anyone if I could ever be of any help, sounding board, whatever it can be. I will definitely open that up. That's something I want to try to get to in a number of years is just giving back. And hence one of the reasons why I'm on this podcast. I like the work that
That's
you're doing,
awesome.
Jason. I appreciate you having me. But if I could be of help to anyone else, that's what life's all about. So,
Well, thanks again, Micah. And until next time, keep building, keep solving problems, and we'll see you on the next episode of the Real Biz Solution Podcast.